do the sex.
Today's locker room talk topic is fuck follies. We are covering the awkward, unusual, and often humiliating things that happen during sex that are, however, normal and most often happen to all of us, but sometimes require medical attention. That's right. This conversation is going to pinpoint all of those things that happen during sex that you question. You wonder if it's just you, and what you're going to find out is that these things happen to all of us most of the time. However, sometimes they're true emergencies and you need to grab the phone and call 911. That's what we're going to talk about. And I've got the perfect guest for this because this is sort of a reveal all conversation where you are going to find out things about me that I have not shared. Well, I'd like to say with anyone, but I'm kind of an open book, but I'll probably reveal some news stories. And my guest today is Ruby, aka Deanna. I'm excited to have her back, and we're just going to kick back some drinks and dish.
Let's do it.
Deanna, do you want to just say hello and remind people what episodes you've been on?
Sure. Hello, listening audience. So Deanna, aka Ruby, I have been on many podcasts. I think my most famous one that gets repeated a lot is the squirting, the water sports, where I did share my story of being a medalist in squirting. So if you have not listened to that oldie but goodie, go back in the archives and check it out.
We'll be revisiting that today.
Oh, yes.
For sure. Yeah, Deanna has been on lots of episodes. One of my favorites was boob sex. She is the reason why my tits got fucked.
You're welcome.
Deanna has big fucking tits. So, listeners, Deanna and I chose this drink because we felt like it embodies the insanity and weirdness and craziness that can often ensue when people get into sexual situations. We chose the three-legged monkey because sometimes sex is more like a circus than an erotic movie.
Truth.
Absolutely true. So we are going to jump in. We have a lot of shit to cover, and I don't want to waste any time. So, Deanna, let's raise our glasses and let's talk about sex.
Let's do it.
Let the fuck follies begin. And we are starting with toilet paper in the twat. Toilet paper in the twat.
It happens.
Ladies, vulva owners, you may or may not know this, but at some point in time, someone has gone down to feed upon your pretty pussy and been confronted with tiny little globs of white, hopefully, toilet paper.
I would hope so.
And look, it's happened to me. Deanna, has it happened to you?
Oh, it has happened to me.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they may or may not let you know. If you notice someone go down and then slowly come back, here's my advice. You just let them come back up. All right. But we're going to talk. We're going to share our stories of, I have both stories of having a partner picking at my pussy, wondering what they were doing, realizing that they were trying to get rid of the toilet paper pieces. And I've also met a pussy and stared directly into a wad. So we're going to talk about those stories. We are then going to give you our advice on what to do. Deanna, I want you to start because I believe when you saw this on my list of things I wanted to talk about, you had a big reaction. So let's go.
Yeah, I had a gut-roaring laugh because this is really something I think a lot of women probably still don't think about because they don't realize. I was really good and long into my relationship with my current partner before I even had any idea that this was something to think about.
Yeah, Deanna, that's true. It's it's not, it took me a long time to,
Yeah.
I was well into adulthood when I was
Oh.
like, oh, fuck.
This was only, I would say this was between 5 to 8 years ago.
Yeah. Oh.
So of course, after the incident, all I thought about was how many times.
So many.
So how I discovered this fuck folly, my partner was going down on me. And, you know, I think it's safe to say we're really comfortable at this point in our relationship,
Yes.
being together for 27 years now, that we can, you know, handle situations like this with humor. And he picks something and he pops up. He's like, "Were you saving this for later?" I was mortified. And he's like laughing. And so it took a few moments for me to realize that this was not as harsh as I was picturing it to be. And I laughed about it. And I said, maybe. But and then I thought, how many times had he been down there?
Yeah.
And saw those little tiny wads of toilet paper and didn't say anything.
Because he wasn't surprised by it, sounds like. He thought it was funny. He was like, yeah, maybe I'll just bring it to her attention. Here is something that I found funny in my research. I researched fuck follies. Now, I did not Google it. I don't know that you probably find some weird porn if you Google that specific name. But toilet paper and the twat, not those words included, came up several times. And what I thought was funny was one of the articles I read. I was like, this person doesn't even know what's going on. They're like, oh, it's cotton from underwear sometimes gets in your labia. I'm like, that is not cotton from women's underwear. Women's underwear does not beat up like that and work its way into the folds of your labia. And so it made me wonder if maybe it was a man that wrote that article, because that was ridiculous to me.
I don't think I own any white underwear.
Right. But your underwear don't like what underwear brand would last if their material beat it up and got caught in our pussy? No, that's toilet paper, man. That's toilet paper. I would say also in the last handful of years, really realized this was a thing. I don't know what, I think it was a partner, and I can't, honestly, I've definitely had more than one partner bring this to my attention, because here's what I've discovered. So at one point, a partner was picking at my pussy, literally picking. I will not forget that. I don't even know. I don't know the person. The person is faceless. Because, well, after, a certain amount of experience and some of it not that interesting or memorable, it all blends together. This person was not memorable to me. However, what was memorable was them picking at my pussy and me saying, "What are you doing?" Like, I'm like, "Get to work, motherfucker." Like, "Where's your mouth and why am I waiting and why are you doing this thing with your fingers?" And then they pointed out, there's some toilet paper. And I was like, oh my God, but only so much so. But I did become self-aware, and here's what I've learned, guys. You think to yourself, well, that's because, you've spent hours between showering and getting to the bedroom and you've wiped a whole bunch of time. That is not the case. Because then I got a little bit too OCD about it. And sometimes if you have a partner who's fucking amazing in bed, you do a lot of like getting ready, because it's not just going to be like you get together, the cock goes in and it's over. You know that sex is going to be an event. So prior to being with them, you get in the shower, you like prepare the body from head to toe. You shave that pussy. And like some of you may be against that. I like a nice smooth pussy. I like my pussy to be nice and smooth so I can feel everything, no hair to get in the way. And I'm like, it is pristine. before I'm going in there for like a night full of banging. And then you're out at the restaurant because, of course, Joy, if you're going to spend a whole night banging, you need sustenance. You need a high-end cocktail to make you, sparkle a little bit. And inevitably, you need to go to the potty. You go to the potty. And that's where I like to check my junk a second time and just make sure it's ready for. And that's when I had only peed maybe twice since bathing. And there it was. The tiny wad.
Pussy pearls.
Pussy pearls. Pussy pearls. I had pussy pearls. And I was like, what the actual fuck? How did you get there? Then I'm picking them out. So then I took to, every time I peed, like patting. This is where we get to the solutions,
I'm
folks.
so relating to this.
Pussy pearls. And it's not the kind you want to wear around your neck. That is for sure. So what I have taken to when I know I'm heading into a night full of I want my partner's face down there for a good half hour, whether they're going to be using their mouth or toys, but they're going to be staring intently at my pussy and taking care of it. I've taken to the patting method. You pee and you pat. Vulva owners, ladies, pee and pat, pee and pat, pee and pat.
I also do an inspection.
Cheers to the inspection. That's just being a good partner.
I go into the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Uno momento. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
And I get my makeup mirror down there.
Yeah, I use my phone.
Pull the lips apart. Okay, no pussy pearls. We are good to go.
I wish you guys could have seen her hand movement when she said, I pull my lips apart. Because it can really get in there.
Can.
And especially if you're wiping fully from front to back, you also got to kind of look further back. Because let's say you're doing 69, like I love to do. Your partner is staring right into your fucking, what do they call it? The brown star or
the chocolate starfish.
Ew, yuck. No, that's not what they call it. Yeah. So, they're going to be staring at that and you don't want them to be staring at your poop hole with like a little dangly. That's scary. Yeah. I have to imagine. I have never encountered that. However, I'm going to flip the script. I have found myself face to pearl endowed pussy.
Like a lot?
I was proud of my partner for wiping well. I was like, I get it. Like, you want to feel dry. I get that. And I don't remember how I handled it. I think I had a drink or two. So I was like, kind of tried to like work around it and then move things more into the fingering, toying type thing. It's just hard to get out of your head.
Right.
And I think that's fair. I don't think it's sex negative to be like, yeah, I don't know that I want to like lick your toilet paper off your twat. Right?
I've had enough fiber today. I don't need any extra.
I would, if you disagree with me, if you have a better method, and what I wish we were all comfortable enough with doing was to say, hey, honey, I think maybe stepping into the shower for a minute, or I do bring pH balanced wipes with me often when I'm going to have sex with anybody. I just like to afterwards, like, freshen it up, offering, your partner with a pussy, your wet wipe and saying, hey, so you vigorously wiped. Great. Can we, like, clean up, I don't know what the truly best method on the receipt. What do you think? Do we have a solution? If you're the person who discovers it, don't sit and pick at the toilet paper, first of all.
Don't act like a three-legged monkey grooming your fellow monkey.
Don't groom. What do you do? What would you prefer? I mean, your partner handled it well, but not every part. I guess maybe bring up a piece, put it in their face and say, saving this for later because I don't want to eat it.
Or, hey, I found a pearl. Like, humor humor is a good way to handle, I think, awkward, hard situations. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if you go back to, we did do a long time ago, a sex solutions podcast. And what I said, which is still stands to be a little bit true, is you can either laugh at it or do what I do, which is lie. I lie sometimes. And I am not going to apologize for it. Sometimes I lie. And I'm like, oh yeah, I was going to eat you out, but baby, I just can't wait to enter you with my 3 fingers or 2, depending on the size. You know, whatever. Right. You adjust whatever that is to the moment.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And then later on, after you're done and they've had an orgasm, because you're amazing at giving them multiple orgasms, you bring them a drink in bed and you say, hey, babe, I wanted to talk to you about something.
Yeah. Can we talk?
I feel like I earned the right.
Yes.
All right. So I feel like we've given them examples, some solutions. Pat.
Also, the like Continental wipes.
They're good. Bring wipes. Wet wipes work well. I understand you're going to feel wet afterwards, but then just pat.
Yeah. Pat.
But then right before sex, like go in, do your partner a solid. Go into the bathroom, have a little couple wet wipes tucked away. Get your phone out. Hi, FBI. Wave. Get that phone down there. You can even video and do like a full-on video inspection. I have done that.
Check it out.
Clean it up, and then go have the time of your life. They have no excuse. They need to go down and do the dirty.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
1 down. Our next one is gas will pass. Gas will pass. I have attacked this in past episodes, but I feel like I really want to embrace it. So I am going to take the leap, and I'm going to start with a story.
Okay.
My worst gas story ever. And I may have mentioned it in the past, but for new listeners and old listeners who just don't remember this one, let's talk about when gas. I'm going to take a sip before I do this. All right, guys. This was many years ago, not many, 5 to 10. And I had a newish partner who I would say for their age was newish to sex and very eager, which was wonderful. That motherfucker ate pussy like it was some amazing dish that you only got once in your lifetime. And we really enjoyed 69. And I crawled up on top of them. It was one night and we were doing 69 and I don't know what happened really. Everything was fine. I was close to orgasm and it happened. It was not small. It was not subtle. I farted solidly in their face. I mean, it was a thunder rumbling through and out my body and right into their face. Now, I can't even tell you, time stopped for me and horror swept over me. I leapt off of their body and I was like, oh my God, I am so fucking sorry. I don't know what just happened. And they looked at me quizzically and they said, oh, it's just a queef. Like, it's okay. You're excited. No big deal.
But was it a queef or was it a fart?
It was not a queef, guys. It was not a queef at all. It was a fucking solid fart. My pussy was not queefing at all. And what I did was I froze for maybe a heartbeat of a second, maybe 2 seconds while my mind was moving a million miles an hour. And I was like, oh yeah, I know. But they still, it's embarrassing. And I embraced it. And I was like, okay, so apparently it was a fart that did not carry with it. There are farts that actually don't stink, oddly enough. And I was gifted in that moment. It was loud. It was big. I'm pretty sure it blew his hair back from his eyes. He had long hair at the time. So my solution was to lie. I'm just saying, you're not always, I literally, if there was a God up there, God reached his hand down and touched me and said, I'm going to get you out of this motherfucker. You owe me. But that is only one time I've had to. I usually feel it coming, and sometimes I'll like make an excuse, especially in 69. If I get in my head too, I'll make an excuse like, oh God, I'm just ready to like have you inside me, which I'm not, but I don't want to fart in your face because I feel like that's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, so tell me, Ruby.
I also go for, I guess you would call it the lie method. Yes. This never really was a problem until after I reached the age 30. It's so funny. As a woman, you turn 30 and so many things about your body change. You start getting what I call the witch hairs.
Y'all like witchy women, right?
I'm a witchy woman. And I got my chin witch hairs when I turned 30. I never had armpit hair. And
what?
Oh, yeah. Like, I never shaved my armpits because I didn't really have any armpit hair. And another thing that changed was I discovered that sometimes a little air escapes my butthole when I am getting excited.
Oh.
The first time it happened, I kind of stiffened up.
That's what we all do. If you see a woman looking stiff, we are farting.
Because I realized that it was not a queef, that air escaped my asshole. And here my partner was eating my vagina. And so I stiffened up.
Did they notice?
And he's like, is everything okay? I'm like, oh yeah, it's fine. I got a Charlie horse. I realized he didn't even realize that little poof of air escaped.
Right. So here's the tricky thing, guys. Like sometimes you hear, like, I had a partner that was new. I'm telling you, this was destined to die, this relationship. And it's fortunate that it did, but it was unfortunate. I had spent a month chatting with this dude. We'll call him Chuck. And it was like there was chemistry. We got together. We finally started dude, I don't know what was wrong with me. I hadn't eaten much from the get-go. The first time we had sex, I farted. I farted like twice, and I was farting a lot. And I was like, I didn't feel gas. Here's the worst part is I didn't feel gassy, but here's why I'm telling you this story. What I couldn't tell is if Chuck even noticed. So sometimes farts, it sounds like a goddamn thunderstorm in your head. When it comes out, you're like, oh my God, that was so loud. But it's not as loud to the outside world as it is to your inner world. Mm-hmm. I mean, if he noticed, he didn't let on. And then I think we only had 3 encounters before it was donesy. Second time, same thing. And it wasn't as though he didn't have a big cock. He wasn't fucking me better than anyone. He wasn't even coming close to my butt except for to give it a little paddle. But it was like my body saw him and it's like, fart. Like, what the
was
fuck?
A defense mechanism.
I don't know. It was awful. And so this is where the lie solution gets tricky. You can only lie. I guess as a, I don't know, dudes, I don't know what to tell you, but men, in my experience, cis men seem to be shameless about farting anyways. If you are a vulva owner, you've got some options. Like, you can be honest and laugh it off and be like, oh, I farted. If you're someone who's comfortable with that, like, I am jealous of you. I still have too much of, I don't know, shame around farting, whatever. But if you go the lie method, which most of us do, you are running a couple risks. First of all, you might out yourself. Maybe they haven't even heard you fart. So I think maybe waiting to see if there's a reaction. If not, act like nothing happened. Don't stiffen up. Unless,
that's what I do now.
If you, stiffening up might also keep more of a fart from coming out.
I mean, now if it happens, I just act like nothing happened because apparently he doesn't notice when the little poofs come.
The little poofs.
Yeah.
But if it's obvious, just be like, oh, I'm sorry. I get so embarrassed when I queef. And then you're banking on the fact that it didn't stink.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like, I don't know. Other than that, what do you do?
I mean, I don't.
Oh, my other solution in the last, in the one podcast I did was to blame.
Oh.
Toss blame. Like, it's your fault. Stop fucking with my ass. Also,
Well, if you weren't ramming that dick in there so
I wouldn't
hard.
be so farty. It's your fault, motherfucker. But the other thing, we've talked about the butt a lot. We like to talk about the butt, but gas also comes out the mouth. And Ruby and I were talking about this before the podcast. I also have this thing that happens not always, but sometimes when I'm close to orgasming, I get burpy.
And I always have a big burp after good sex.
Yeah, it's weird. And then I'm doing the whole like bar burp thing, you know, when you're drinking a carbonate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, some people, I don't drink beer. And here I am about to come and I'm burping. So burping, I guess, is the same. Like I always turn your head to the side and blow. So the scent doesn't hit your burp.
I mean, that sounds good. Mine is always like right after. And so my partner knows that that's how they know they've done a good job. If, you know, I'm one of those immediately I go make myself pee. It's an OCD thing. And if I don't do that, I stress that I'm going to have a yeast infection, have a UTI. So I will sit on that toilet until I piss.
Yeah. Good.
And as soon as I sit on the toilet, I sit there, I'm all relaxed and I let out a big burp.
Huh.
And it's kind of like an applause because it only happens when I have good sex. So that's a good job.
All right. Well, just tell your partner if I don't burp and I don't fart, you're a bad fuck.
There you go. Put it on them.
Cheers to that. All right. What's the next folly? No tampon left behind. Apparently, this is just my story.
Yeah. I don't have a story for this one.
Okay. It is not unusual. That's why I'm putting it on the list. I'm sure I'm not the only one who has done this.
Oh, absolutely.
Twice in my life, I have forgotten to remove a tampon before sex. It was back when there are some great fixes for this that are very simple, and we will get to that. When I was younger, and cups weren't a thing, and not that I'll get to the whole cup thing. I would use tampons up until the point where I was like, okay, it's light, it's probably done. And if I had a partner and we were gonna have sex, I would still like OCD, like keep that last tampon in just till right before sex to make sure that I wasn't spotting. On 2 occasions, with many years in between them, I forgot about that last tampon. I really, really forgot about that last tampon. And the first situation, the partner I had at the time and I had sex multiple times. It was all good. I was definitely feeling like, wow, you feel bigger than usual, or I feel fuller than usual. Something just felt a little off. And then I think the third time we had sex, I went to the bathroom and the tampon said hello to me. It was mortifying. It was something I can't remember why, but I couldn't really hide from them. And they were like, I thought something felt off. They actually were very calm about it. I was pretty freaked out. Like, wow, I've never done that before. This is awkward. You were fucking me with a tampon up me. I mean, the second time, it was clearly a situation where I had forgotten about the tampon and I don't know what amount of time, I have no idea, had gone by, but my guess is a couple days, and and I didn't realize it until I realized it. I did go to the doctor. This would be a 911 situation. Do not call 911. But if you have left a tampon in and you have had sex and you have not known because the little string got pushed up inside you, and you find out because something seems off or you're uncomfortable, and then you find out, it is not a bad idea to go check in with your care provider.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of different things can result from that, whether it's BV or a yeast infection or in some very rare cases, toxic shock. You might need, I do believe that at that time, my provider may have given me some meds just to cover my bases. Do that. However, I want to say to all of my vulva, vagina, uterus owners out there, there is no reason why any of you should feel you have to use tampons anymore. I feel like they're very outdated, and I have personally tried and reviewed several options. You know, there are menstrual cups out there that are not really usable during sex because they have got the, you know, the pokey thing that sticks out the end. I've not had a lot of luck with those just in general when it comes to sex and enjoying sex. But I do have some options that I'm going to mention really quickly of cups, discs. They're now calling them menstrual discs that you can use to catch the blood, but you can also fuck with them in. And the penis owner or the person with the dildo won't even know you've got it on. So I would like to introduce to you the Ziggy cup, the Ziggy disc. 2, if you scroll down to the notes in this podcast, you're going to see a link to the product. It is a disc-shaped cup, which means it's shallower. It is made of petal soft material. You can put it inside of you. It catches up to 8 hours of blood. You can have sex with it. It's flexible. So if a penis owner puts their penis inside you, they won't feel it. You'll feel like you're just having sex. It's great. It's leak proof. It's comfortable. Another option is the Flex disc, which is disposable. Flex cup also has discs that are not disposable. All of these are reusable options, so they're great for Mother Earth as opposed to tampons. Same deal, man. It's very flexible material. I've used the Flex disc many times when having sex, and here's the big plus. I want you all to listen closely. What I have noticed, and I'm not the only one who has reported this, is when I have one of these discs in, for one reason or the other, they actually increase pleasure and make sex more orgasmic. Now, that may not be for everyone, but I do know that there is a large percentage of vulva owners that report that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's great. And it's not going to get lost up inside you like those little tampons did for me. So that would be my solution. Check out the Ziggy Cup. 2, check out Flex Disc. I will have links to them. I really highly suggest them. It's been a game changer for me when I've bled. So, and for younger people, if you're like worried that you're going to start bleeding, stick one of the discs in. Your partner isn't going to know it. I always think you should be honest and say to them, hey, yeah, I mean, they may even feel like it's fun and kinky, but check it out. There's no reason you should be buying tampons anymore. There's all of the issues that come with tampons. They can be painful to put in and out. That's my advice. But if you are someone like me who has forgotten the tampon now and again, no shame on you. It happens. It's typical. The doctor even told me when I was almost in tears and humiliated.
I mean, I think it's a really common thing. Even like not during sex, I think it's a common thing. I mean, not during sex, but I have had a time when I've had to ask my partner, I don't think I have a tampon, but I don't remember taking it out. Can you just look real
Give it a little poke. Give it a little. Well, I have a tilted cervix, so sometimes it slips behind my cervix. And that's what happened until it was like, enough.
Yeah, my vagina is kind of weird too.
It's not weird. It's absolutely normal.
Right. So, because when I go to put a tampon in, sometimes it's hard because it's got to be...
It's like a dragon slide.
It's got to be at like a certain angle. I can't... Let's just say the diagram means nothing to me and the little piece of paper that comes with your tampons because that is not how it looks inside of mine.
It's more of like a theme park, a water
Right.
theme park slide.
It's like a roller coaster.
Roller coaster. All right, guys. We are going to take a little break and share a little message with you. And when we get back, don't worry, we've got plenty more fuck follies to go over. So we will be back in 1 second. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, fuck follies. That's what we're doing right now. And we are going to move on to shit happens. Let's just get to the point. Poop.
Yep.
Poop happens.
Poop happens.
Yeah. There is a podcast I did with Not Your Virgin Mary. And she was sharing in some of her first sex experiences how poop happened. And she was mortified. And this was early on in her sex life. Like I don't know, first or second, I believe, partner. And I was like, oh, that's just a thing. And I think people don't realize how common poop is. Do you have a good poop story, Deanna?
I don't have a poop story. The only poop story I have did not happen to me. I've been lucky in that department.
Even with all your butt play?
Yeah, believe it or not. So, because I have a good solution. But, I mean, I know people do have, I mean, it happens. You have some anal sex.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a dick's a plunger in there and it can loosen things up. So, yeah, but I have not experienced because
I love it. Sometimes a dick is a plunger.
It is. Sometimes it is. That's why I think queefs happen sometimes. It's and that air gets sucked in, sucked out, sucked in. Out. Right, it happens. But before I first engaged in anal sex, so I don't know if maybe there was some poop happening like with anal play. My partners never said.
There had to be.
Right. But
because I'm assuming you weren't douching at your butt. What do they call that?
No, enema.
Enemaing yourself.
But that's what I did before I had my first anal sex encounter. Because that was my biggest fear is I was like, okay, I'm all about trying the butt stuff, but I don't want to shit the bed.
Mm-mm.
I don't. And I thought about, when you give birth, like you can't help that. You can't help that shit.
I didn't shit my bed.
I didn't either.
With birth. I've heard that's happened.
But it does happen.
Hey guys, it didn't happen to us, but you're perfectly normal.
Yeah. It's every body is different.
That's true.
So I would do a quick little enema butt douche before having anal sex.
I still do. I do it all the time. Just a little squirty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Actually, it's kind of pleasant. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, I was backed up and didn't even know it.
Right.
And I mean, like I'm assuming you don't do a full on. Like I don't do the bag and lay. I do like a little handheld thing and do a little squirt.
Right. You get them. They're nice. It's just a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
real quick.
Real quick. And it takes like 10 minutes tops.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. P.S. That's the solution. You go get your like little Fleet bottles, empty them out. Do not use that solution. It actually causes you to, it's got a diuretic or something in it. You empty it out, you wash it out good, put a little lukewarm water in it, a little squirty up the butt, and then let it flush itself out. Yeah. And you are good to go for quite a while, actually.
And you can actually just get you can buy anything on Amazon, but you can get just the little push squirt bottle that has the little nozzle you stick up.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's like we buy them for our babies because we think they're nose suckers and they're really butt cleaners. We're both.
But,
do not cross-contaminate, folks.
No.
I have run into poop several times. Well, my stories aren't as much about me. In fact, I think, yeah, I'm sure at some point I've had, early on in my butt stuff career, I probably definitely was like, oh, I do remember early on in my butt stuff career, I'd have a towel right there. And the minute the dick came out of my butt, I'd wipe it off because I didn't want them to see. And then later on in the laundry, I'd be like, yep. And it was, again, this was the 90? No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was like the 90s, early 2000s. There wasn't a lot of education out there. And I still thought I was doing something really weird, which we now know is like, it's kind of weird if you're not trying it out. Right. No, I'm not judging you. Whatever you do is normal. I love you. Also, I would like to point out, I have had sexual situations where poop has happened and we haven't even been into big time butt stuff. With a woman once, I was kind of doing the bowling ball thing. There was vaginal penetration, butt penetration, and I was definitely a little surprised when there was poop that happened. Hopefully partners are pretty cool about it. I was just like, no big deal. Let's just scoot that sheet over here. I might go wash my hands now. And with butt plugs with me, there has been one time in the last year with my partner where he put a butt plug in me and I hadn't prepared for it. So it was very simple for me. I was like, it's not coming out in front of you because I'm pretty sure it could get sketchy. And so I did that in the privacy of the bathroom. However, like there are couples, like some people, people don't in general get really judgy about it. I think if they are sexually knowledgeable and experienced. However, what I would say to you is if you think that's going to be part of your sex play, and I agree that, you don't really want to encounter poop. None of us want that. Right. There are things you can do to avoid it, washy, squirt. And if it does happen, just lift your chin up, straighten your back. And if the person who is putting stuff in your butt has something to say about it,
they shouldn't be putting stuff in your butt.
Blame. Don't go for the lie. Look at them and said, dude, this is what dudette, this is what you wanted.
Right.
Sorry.
You wanted it. You wanted the butt.
Butts are for pooping and play, but that's secondary.
Right. The first and foremost duty of the butt
is pooping.
Is poop.
Right.
Second is pleasure.
Yep. Poop and then pleasure. Poop first, pleasure second. So if they get weird about it, fuck them. And you know what? Hold your fucking head high. Right. Hold your head high and say, hey, yep, poop. How are we gonna clean it up? And then blame. And do it with fucking conviction.
Right.
Conviction.
Stand your ground.
Stand that ground. I will not be shamed.
Yes.
Because, think about it. When we are raising our kids, books, everybody poops.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody poops. We talk about it. There is no shame in pooping. Go to the potty and poop. And you know what? There is no way as an adult I'm going to let you take that away from me.
Right.
Everybody poops.
They do. Let's cheers.
Cheers. Everybody.
Cheers to poop.
Poop. All right. There we go. One more down. Shit happens. All right. We are moving on to got milk. So we are talking about, in particular, women who have had babies or people with breasts who have given birth and their boobs are all filled up with milk. And Deanna, I think this is on me, right?
It is because I just have the typical, my partner suckled on my boob because I have big boobs, who wouldn't want to?
Giant.
And got a little taste and it was unexpected. So it kind of took him aback and he didn't think it was the tastiest, but.
So it didn't continue.
No.
Now, I would like to point out there is a fetish. A nursing fetish.
Mm-hmm.
In this, we are not addressing that right now. However, if you are part of a duo or trio or whatever that is into that fetish, I would like to talk to you. So please email me at annette@sheexplorerslife.com because I will have you on as a guest. But what we are talking about is when you're postpartum and you decide you want to have sex again, and your partner and you are like getting sexy, and all of a sudden your boobs start leaking. In some cases, spraying, literally. This has happened to me quite a bit. I had this happen with a partner who decided to give it a try. And he latched on and gave it a suck and then more, and was trying to be a sport and maybe overindulged in the sweet milk I was offering up, which was fun until afterwards, at which time he turned green. And I don't know if it was because post-orgasm he was feeling weird about it or what, but he turned green. And that was a little bit embarrassing. And then I definitely noticed, like, when I would masturbate or when I'd have sex, like, arousal can lead to letting down. So what I want to share with you guys is anyone that makes you feel weird about that can fuck right off.
Yep.
How lucky are they? How lucky are they to be drinking from your teat? You are a goddess who just made a human. Do not lie. Do not project. Do not hide. If they are bitchy about it, get indignant and angry.
Yes.
And just tell them, I can keep another human alive with my tits.
What can you do?
What can you do? I grew a human in my body. I somehow got them out. And now you get to suckle at my teat. And it feels good to me. So
Right.
Get on your knees. Open your mouth.
And
take it.
Consent. Always consent.
Oh, yeah. Do work that out in advance. But feel free to give it a try. But also, if they're dicks about it, kick them out. Unless they're the father of your child, in which case you should negotiate things out and, kind of keep it cool. So that's what I got for you.
All right.
Got milk? Yep. And that's what we think. So we are moving on to Super Soaker. And here's the thing, folks, what you may not know, if you have not listened to every last one of our episodes, is that we have a silver medal Olympian with us right now. Deanna won a silver medal in the squirting Olympics.
Yeah.
Period. So I'm just going to let her, let's talk about squirting. First of all, not everybody, many women do it. It's not that uncommon.
And the first thing I want to say is don't ever let anyone embarrass you about it. Mm-hmm. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you just pissed on them, because it is not pee.
Nope.
If it gets in their mouth, they'll even know that, because it doesn't taste like pee.
Has it gone in your mouth?
I've had some. Yes.
Okay.
Just
asking.
So when you're a squirter, and there's been a penis in there where you have been,
or a large
flowing,
object.
Sometimes you give a little head afterwards. And so it's on there.
Oh, yeah. What you're saying is that cock goes in you squirt all over it, and then you go down on them after, and you're okay.
Yeah. And it's not pee. That was my biggest fear when I first squirted, was I was like, did I just piss everywhere? And no.
But also, can we say, if you do happen to pee,
fine.
it
whatever.
Happens. It does.
So what I would recommend is, if you know that there are some times when you squirt, some people know exactly when it's going to happen, some don't. There is mattress protection. People call them pee pads, but it's for fluids.
We aren't going to call them pee pads.
No, it's mattress protection.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm one of those that I don't. Okay, well, I know usually if my partner I currently have, he can make me squirt. So and he enjoys that. That really turns him on.
That's not unusual.
I know it's going to be happening. one time one instance where I've never had it happen that recently happened is when I masturbate. And recently I masturbated and I was needing the release so bad and I was so into it. I didn't even realize I squirted until I got up and I saw the puddle on the bed. So I had to, throw everything in the wash. So solutions, mattress cover for your mattress. If you are with a new partner, let them know, I can sometimes be a squirter.
Yeah.
FYI, to prepare them, because there's nothing more shocking than being down in there or engaged in some sort of pussy play and having this river flow at you.
Fire hose.
So really, and I think I've said this on different podcasts, communication is so important.
Right.
And if anyone shames you for it, they're not worth your fucking time.
That's right. That's right.
There should.
And we will have a full podcast really just on squirting. It's a huge topic because while we are talking about it being embarrassing to squirt upon someone, it can also be, in my personal experience, I've had a lot of humiliation around not being able to squirt and knowing someone was trying to get me to squirt. And you can always tell with cis men because they put their finger and they do this really vigorous, like semi-painful thing because they want to make you squirt. And I'm just like, I have squirted a few times. I would not call myself a squirter. It does not indicate, it certainly would not, I don't think during an orgasm. And I sometimes feel embarrassed about it. It's like, I know what you want me to do. That's not going to happen. And that's embarrassing too. So I think we can do a whole podcast on that, definitely. Deanna, and definitely you will be part of that. The podcast where you shared your Olympic status was called
Water Sports,
but it covered a much bigger range. And I think squirting itself is just a really big topic. So either way, none of this should be shameful. I do think if you're a heavy squirter, like finding out ways to save your partner's beds would be nice.
Yeah, so you can purchase, I call them chuck pads because I work in a healthcare setting, but they actually sell like little pads that fold up nicely. So you have your overnight bag, have that in there. You just throw it on the bed and then that protects it.
Right. I had a partner who was a squirter, a big time, like fire hose squirter who purchased the ShamWows. I don't know that worked because I never got a chance with them to try it out. But, I think the idea, I do think in partnerships, certainly when I have someone I'm having sex with and we get past maybe the first time, I come with a bag of tricks. Like, here's what I want to use during sex. So it's reasonable if you're going to go see every time I now visit my partner, I pack like, here's what I think I'm going to want. And if you're a squirter,
have your chuck pad,
your courtesy chuck pad. All right. There we go. Cheers to the chuck pad. All right. We are moving on to the point in Fuck Volleys where we talk about I smell trouble.
Oh.
This is a complicated one, I think.
It is because
we don't like to shame women, vulva owners, vagina owners for scents. Look, the pussy comes in all sorts of scents. I want to say this, though. I really want part of sexual empowerment for women is women getting to know their pussies. Women need to get to know their pussies, what they look like, what they smell like, what they taste like. Seriously, I know you're cringing. You should know what your pussy tastes like.
Oh, we're supposed to cringe at that?
I think a lot of people do. I mean, I don't, but, and there are times like, you like what? Say it. Say
so
it.
I'm just going to make a confession.
Yeah.
I love the taste of my pussy.
You love the taste of your own pussy.
I do.
Yeah.
And I love the smell of, like,
Yeah.
it gets me
Excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that was something that was cringy. But
I think for the mainstream public, that could be, you know, there are people that still won't kiss someone after they go down on them.
Right.
That is not uncommon. You and I live in a bubble, a big, beautiful, sexy, sex-filled, dirty motherfucking bubble.
And I think maybe it's just societal pressure of...
Well, what I want to say is this. Sometimes I think it's really hot after my partner goes down on me to make out with him.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it grosses me out. And I don't know if that is a time of month thing. I don't know. It's like, it feels like it's very pheromonal, very hormonal, but that is not what I Smell Trouble is all about.
No.
I Smell Trouble is about, specifically, I smell fucking trouble. As a bisexual woman, I have had one too many experiences of going down on a partner who had a vulva and pussy and being very aware as I went down on them, the scent that was coming back to me was either BV, bacterial vaginosis, or an oncoming yeast infection. And the reason why I know this, folks, is because I know my body and I know the scents, and I've done a lot of self-education. I think every vulva owner, every woman should do this. And why is it so important? Well, especially if you are another vulva owner, but regardless, if you are a penis owner, it's important too. These things can be passed. Mm-hmm. They're typically passed through a penis owner, meaning the penis owner sticks his dick in someone who has either a yeast infection or BV, and then can like transmit it that way. As a vulva owner, if you are dating a woman and scissoring and they have this, then you could also get it. And so I know what the scent is. The complex thing is when I go down on someone and I recognize what the scent is, like, where do I go from there? Like, do I take one for the team and like call my doc and say, hey, I've got an oncoming BV infection? Or do I say, back off and say, hey, well, I mean, I know, Deanna.
This is, I think, probably the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Especially as women.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for men, but I don't think it would be as hard for them to say, oh man, there's something going on down there. Mm-hmm. But as someone who is in the same shoes, knowing how we would feel, it's really hard how to approach that. When I encountered this, I was not knowledgeable at that point about vaginal health.
Right.
So I just figured it was a weird smelling.
Yeah.
So, and how I handled it is, I just did the escape plan route, where I was like, oh man, I didn't realize the time.
You backed off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also was like 18, 19 at the time. So I didn't have that knowledge, and I haven't ever encountered it again. I think, though, knowing that can be a sign. So this is why I will also stress it's really important to be aware of your vagina and the smells, the discharges, because it's a clue to health. And I think now as a grown adult, I think if you are not comfortable enough having hard conversations, you should not be comfortable enough having sex.
Right.
Because sometimes with sex, there's hard conversations, and I think that would be one of them. Maybe your partner isn't knowledgeable.
Right.
So you might want to say, hey, can we have a talk? But it's a hard one.
That's, yeah. I think I've also taken the escape route of like, oh, maybe instead of going down on you, I'm going to just use a toy on you. It is I actually have had a partner say something to me and they were in fact right. I didn't know. I had no symptoms. I wasn't aware. And actually looking back, I'll never forget because they kind of went down on me and they came up and they said, so like, I don't want to make you uncomfortable, but are you uncomfortable at all? Because it smells like a little yeasty. It's not unpleasant, they said. It's not unpleasant, but I just want to make sure you're healthy. And look, they said it as nicely as it could have been said, but I still, like, it was a terrible feeling to have someone. And that again goes back to our society and a yeast infection and a bacterial vaginosis.
It happens.
They are like literally nothing. It's like getting a cold. This is not, it's not a big deal. Every woman will get one. It's like getting a UTI or whatever. But there's something about it, the shame that really is attached to it. And I found myself kind of angry. It was a guy. He really knew pussy.
Well, good for him.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So if you're listening.
Can we cheers him real quick?
Oh, I don't want to, but look, you're getting a cheers, motherfucker.
Not
No,
him,
I mean, he was not,
knowledge.
he actually wasn't a bad dude. He wasn't the dude for me, and he was actually very, and the way he handled it was appropriate, and helpful, and mind blowing at the time. And to be fair, I haven't been even as brave as him in my own situations where I've been with a woman, who I was like, I cannot rub pussies with you, baby. No, I don't want that. So the solution is suck it up and be honest. And then be very clear. This is like, nothing is wrong with you. You have a beautiful pussy. I will dive in and like drown myself in it. But I want you to be healthy and taken care of. And I can tell something.
I care about you. Yeah. And because I care about you, I want to be sure that you are in good health.
And I'm telling you this as someone who has not yet done that, so I'm a hypocrite. But whatever, I will, maybe someday, should I have that experience, I will, I'll try for you. So anyways, honesty in this case is super crucial, and awkward and hard and bad, but also do not go for it. Don't shame, but also don't go for it. Especially if you're another vulva owner, you will get what they have.
Yep.
So, we are moving on. I smell trouble. We gave you the best answer to that we could. It's an ugly name. It's not an easy solution, but we are going to move on to stand at attention or not when your penis owning, cock owning man, in this case, or not, can't get hard. So we got to talk about this, people. It's a hard thing for someone with a penis, or not, or it's a soft thing. And not only for the penis owner, for the person with them. I have noticed in myself, like if we're really honest, maybe some of our shittiness around it comes from, it affects our ego, right?
Right.
If I am with a partner who has a cock and I'm doing my best and we're hot and heavy and they're still not standing at attention.
What am I doing wrong?
My ego instantly gets involved. And the fact is, there are so many things that can come in the way of people getting hard.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of great solutions. So first of all, and certainly we don't have the time in this podcast to you, there are things, and I'm looking for a professional who can talk about the sex accelerators and brakes, things that trigger them out there. It's figuring out what's causing your partner not to get hard. But let's say they're not getting hard you went out and I had a situation. One of my favorite memories of an old lover was in Cincinnati. I was on a press trip and hooked up with this like amazing dude. And we went on a date and just like hit it off and ended up back at his place. And, it got sexy but we had been drinking. We had gone to Cincinnati and hopped all these amazing bars. We went to his friend's house. It was like one of the best evenings I had had in a very long time. Went back to his place, and due to consumption and everything like that, like sexy, it was getting sexy, but things weren't coming together. And here's the funny thing. It's the one time in my life that didn't even play a role in our sex. Like I always forget that we did continue to see each other for a short time after. But I always forget that we didn't actually have traditional penetrative cock and vagina sex that night, because he was just like, I don't care. And we dove into all of these other great sexual things. I certainly had orgasms. We played all night long. And what I want to tell people is, and even since then, I've been in situations where the cock has not popped up. It doesn't matter. And don't shame your partner for that. It's not always about you. And you can still have great sex. Right. And they can still have great sex, because sex isn't just about orgasming. It's about what's going on in your head and your emotions. And if they are still into it and they're like, I'm not hard, but let's keep doing this, and keep doing it. Yeah.
And remember, just like we have to get, like, what did I do wrong? I think for men, especially from my experience as hetero man, if you don't admit that you can't get a hard on, because that means you're not a man.
Right.
So, have that empathy for them. So,
Right. And there's remember, a lot of shaming around that.
Sex is not about the D and the V.
It's not about
There's so much more than that.
And a man, and when we say that, I think we're referring to your stereotypical heterosexual cis man who is really good at sex, knows it's not just about his dick in the vagina. And I know this because I've had, my personal relationship that has involved a man who is, cis heterosexual, got a cock. Our sex life that has been so amazing, it's not been built around just D and the V. It's been built around all of these other things. And in this experience I had prior to this in Cincinnati, this person, like, it was interesting how naturally it flowed. We did not get caught up on his cock standing at attention. It never even became a thing. Part of it was because we were intoxicated and having fun. It was like, all right, well, let's do this instead. And like, I've got like a shitload of bag of tricks to pull out. But I think, again, the big thing for the person who is on the other end, who isn't, you're trying to get your partner hard, they're not getting hard. It's a really dangerous area. I've certainly let it affect my self-esteem. It's not about you. Maybe it is, but like that would be a different story here. But it happens often. Move on to other things. Yeah. Have some toys, guys. I've had partners just like use toys. I think the best way to handle when you're not going to, your partner can't stand at attention is to then just keep playing and having fun and laughing and exploring. Right?
And use it as an opportunity to explore. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you've been a strict D&V couple. This is an opportunity for you to kind of explore your sexuality together.
It's a great opportunity.
Yes.
The dick is out of the way.
Yes.
And it gets to be all about like what you can do beyond that. So that is our advice. And I think most people have been faced with that at some point in time. Do not shame
No.
And do not make it the focus of relationship problems, because I'll tell you what, you do that dick will never get hard again.
Nope.
It causes anxiety, emotional difficulty, and shaming someone because of something like that's fucked up.
Right.
Like super fucked up.
I agree.
Yeah. So cheers to that. Do not shame the cock when it cannot stand attention. Just take care of it in other ways. What are we at? We've only got 2 more. This one, Deanna is excited to talk about. It is called Mother Plucker.
Yeah.
Mother Plucker.
So there are times that maybe you or your partner are going down either to snack on a little pussy or gobble some dick.
Mm-hmm. Gobble the cock.
And you feel something in between your teeth. And you're like, I didn't eat any popcorn. What is that? And it is a pube.
It's caught.
Yes.
In your teeth.
In your teeth.
Or in the back of your throat. On the back of your tongue most often.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully you don't have a gag reflex when that happens. You can just reach in there and grab it and get it out.
Well, some of you do.
But yeah, Mother Plucker.
Mm-hmm. So, I have a very good story about this I want to share.
Let's hear it.
This was a college story. I was with a partner. I was probably back when grooming and tightening things up wasn't, and I am Italian. So if I let things go, there's a bush you could get lost in. My partner was going down on me, and then it was very clear. Again, it was the picking sensation. Like, what are you doing? And they had gotten hair in their mouth. So they kept trying to eat me out, and in between pull this hair out. And then pretty soon they're like working on it so hard that they're gagging. And I got fucking pissed. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, seriously, either just swallow it and move on, ignore it and move on. Or like, just like go to town and ignore it. Just ignore it. It's a hair. You swallow weird shit all day long, probably, you know? And I have also since then been on, so end of that story, angry. I made them, so I yelled at them. I was like, stop, whatever you're doing, just fucking stop. Like, this is fucked up. I have since been on the receiving end where I've ended up with a mouth full of hair. And then I always think of that situation. I'm like, suck it up, buttercup. Swallow it. Or say I have to pee and go in the bathroom and like.
Yeah.
What about you, Deanna?
Yeah, I've had some pubes in the mouth before. And also I've had a partner come up and kiss me, and there's been a pube in there.
They passed a pube?
Well, I mean, I felt it, and I'm like, hang on a minute.
Did they go, tag, you're it.
I was just like, stop, can I get that? There was like a hair on their tongue, and it was, and I'm like, how did you not feel that? But maybe they were just so entranced with how sexy.
No, they were trying, they were passing the pube.
You think they were trying to pass the pube?
Absolutely. I kind of think I may have done that at some point.
Passing the pube?
I would do that.
Just get it out of your mouth.
Here you go.
But solutions, a Brazilian.
Shave regularly.
Yeah. Grooming.
Where are you at with that? We got to do a whole podcast on hair down there.
So right now, I'm not where my ideal is. I love getting Brazilians, and I love to be smooth and have nothing there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, But luckily, I've never had a lot of pubic hair.
Right.
And now, once I hit that 30 and hair started growing more in places, I got a little more pubic hair, but it's still like you can see through it. Like you can see my skin.
You have light hair.
And it's not a lot. There's not a lot of it down there. But I prefer to be completely.
Yeah, I shave as well, and then I trim. Sometimes I'm completely nude. Although I have found in the girl-on-girl world, that's not as popular. All right, we got to do a whole podcast on. Look, tidy your shit up, and look, if you go down on someone and you get a hair on the back of your throat, like don't sit and gag into her pussy. Don't do it. Rude. Go to the bathroom, spit it out, figure it out, take a break, say, oh my gosh, I've got to pee. I'll be back in a second. If it freaks you out or weirds you out, grow the fuck up.
Right. What are you doing down there in the first place?
Right. You are not old enough to be their fetus. Fuck off.
Right.
Period. All right. So, mother plucker. And if you are a person who has someone who is gagging, sit up and smack them.
Yeah. Well, okay, we don't want to
with consent
condone violence, but sit up and say, "Hey, fucker! If you're not down there to eat, get the fuck out of there."
Yeah, save your gagging for the road.
I'll give you something to gag on with consent.
I will totally give you something to gag on. Whip out your biggest fucking dildo and just with consent. Okay. Wait. We are at the end of this podcast and we are going to sum it up with 911. When to call. When to call for help. All right. Look, so there are some strange, funny, and funky moments that pop up. And there are moments when things really go south. And I would say that almost everyone I know who has good sex has this happen. Mm-hmm. Do you want to start or should I?
Well, I will give an example of something that can happen. I won't tell you who this happened to, but just that I have knowledge of it. So one thing that can happen is I don't remember. It starts with a P. There's like the little bit of skin that's from like where the head of the cock is, and it connected to the shaft of the cock. It's got some fancy. I mean, I've been known to sometimes like grab it,
what,
pinch it. It's just this little like. Anyways, I wish I had a picture of a dick so I could show you. But there is this little like. It reminds me kind of like under your tongue that piece of tissue under your tongue that's connected.
I bet you there's a name for it. Yeah, I know.
It starts with a P.
Okay.
But what can happen is if you are having aggressive, penetrative sex, it can split. And from what I have heard,
word on the street
from this person that called me in a panic. Blood is everywhere.
Is that a 911? Is that a 911 situation?
That is you should call an advice nurse. I don't think it's I need to call 911, get an ambulance here, because the bleeding did stop. But you definitely need to go get it checked out. Make sure there isn't any. And I guess from what the person was told by the medical provider, this happens. It's a common thing with men. And they had asked, were you having hard penetration? And yes, indeed, that was happening. So that is something that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recommend like calling your mother or calling an ambulance, but definitely be calm about it.
Don't call your mother or an ambulance.
Definitely be calm about it. Wash it. Make sure, everything looks okay. If it looks like you look at it, you're like, ugh, then maybe go to urgent care emergency room.
Yeah.
But if the bleeding stops, you can call after hours nurse, make sure, and make an appointment to go in so you can make sure that it heals well for infection, because you don't want to get infected down there.
And there's some motherly advice.
Yep.
So I'm going to sum this up. There are so many stories I can tell. I'm going to tell you I've been injured during sex at least once or twice. And this can happen when the cock... I have never been injured by a pussy. I have been injured by a cock a couple times. A cock has been destroyed by me a couple of times where it's too vigorous or it slips out and it tries to go in too soon and it goes wrong place and it hits and bends, and that can hurt the cock and bend the cock. Cocks can be sprained, broken. I don't know. Pussies can be torn. I may or may not have had my pussy torn. Oh God, let me just tell you guys. I'm going to tell you that one time there was like a misdirected entry and peeing was, it was so painful. It just like would hit because urine is very acidic, right? Mm-hmm. Would hit that tiny minuscule rip and it was awful. I had to go to the doctor. These things happen. When you have a sexual mishap and you're vigorous and maybe you've got 5 toys going on, not saying that's what I was doing, but maybe I was. And, and in the excitement of the moment, something rips. Stop, assess, clean, and go to the doctor the next day.
I agree.
Pain, anything after sex that's really painful, get checked out. Like, it's not going to hurt you. It's not embarrassing. Yes. Doctors deal with it all the time. Mm-hmm. If you are having good, fun, vigorous sex, experimental sex, orgasmic sex, sooner or later, it's,
it happens.
It happens. I feel like it's very normal. And it can even happen during lovely, wonderful, and totally not shameable vanilla sex. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it slips out and, whatever. Or even masturbation. Sometimes the toy you're using. I actually, all right, here you go. I had a toy I used, have not reviewed it, that had a clit suction part of it that sucked so vigorously, it caused my clit to bleed. And that is in the last year, folks. And I was like, oh my God, my clit is bleeding.
What do I do?
Right. So these things can happen whether you're alone or with a partner, you've got toys, whatever. Do not be ashamed to call your provider. Mm-mm. Take care of your body, especially your sexual organs. And know that it happens to a lot of us. You are not alone. So we have gone on because fuck follies, there's a lot of them, and we really have just scratched the surface. But I feel like we need to tie it up. Maybe you're getting bored, or maybe you have questions, maybe you have thoughts, input. If you want us to cover any other fuck follies, I'd be happy to do this on a recurring basis. I want you to send your personal fuck folly to me. Send it to me. Annette, ANNETTE at SheExploresLife.com. Tell me about your fuck folly. Deanna and I will address it. You can find out if someone else, me, Deanna, someone we know, we will find people who have had your fuck folly and let you know how normal you're going to feel good.
Yep.
Email me. Find me in the DMs. Locker Room Talkin' Shots on Instagram. Being Benedetti is my personal Instagram. You can drop into my DMs. Go to Facebook. You can find me there at Locker Room Talking Shots. You can find me there at She Explores Life. I am on TikTok. I'm ticking and talking, and I've got a lot of content to come. And that's just a Locker Room Talk podcast. You can find me there. Also, I have not plugged it yet today, unfortunately. Please, please, please subscribe to my Patreon. It starts at $2 a month. $2 a month. You get ad-free episodes. You get to have some extra content that you can listen to that happens after the podcast. There's lots of exclusive content waiting for you. Deanna and I are actually in the process of launching merchandise. We're going back through the archives of our podcast and coming up with some great slogans you are definitely going to want to wear around town, or at least suck down some good cocktails from cups with them on them.
Yes.
So,
and $2 a month, 50 cents a week. Everyone has 2 quarters in their couch cushions.
right. And that will help me continue to keep doing this podcast. Any last thoughts, Deanna?
Fuck follies happen and life goes on.
Yeah. And we will find someone else who has had the same fuck folly as you. So
Absolutely.
help me make this a regular episode.
Yes.
We want to hear about your fuck follies. Maybe I'll be like, oh, damn, I also had that fuck folly. Maybe I'll have a friend who's talked to me about it. So I'm looking forward to hearing about your fuck follies. So until then, we'll see you in the locker room.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ring loop. do the sex.